guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Lauren and this is my coming out video. Not scripted this at all, so I'm just gonna sit here with the beer and tell you about my story. I'll start off with the day I went to high school because I feel like that is a very important part of this story. My parents actually sent me to an all-girl Catholic school, and the reason for this is because at the time I was completely boy crazy. But I feel like the reason why I was boy crazy was because I was putting on a front that I was interested in boys. Because obviously I'm not. As a result, which wasn't great, was that I was surrounded by women, like girls, teenagers, like up until the age of 17. And I was just like really self-conscious that everyone knew that I was gay, scared that someone would find out that I was interested in them. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing it down. So I pretended like I had boyfriends in high school, which I didn't have. I pretended like I was really interested in boys. I did have a few boyfriends as well. But there was always this part of me, like from right at the get-go, that I was interested in women. And that for me was really scary. And even now I'm thinking about it, it's just like, oof, that feeling I had was like none I've ever had before. I had some boyfriends, and eventually in year 10 camp, I won't name her name or anything, we had a moment and it was quite intimate and it was quite innocent, but it was quite a big deal because obviously I'd never done anything with a girl before, and it was quite a big deal for her, and even to this day I think she identifies as straight, so I'm not gonna say anything more about her other than it was a life-changing experience. But still, I kept this to myself. I didn't want a soul to know. It was my nightmare if someone had found out. I just feel like, especially at that age though, I hadn't had any role models to look up to that looked like me, like feminine lesbians. Like I didn't see anyone in the media, I didn't see anyone on TV shows I'd watch. There was 2 lesbians in the school and they weren't feminine identifying from what I'm like aware of. So watching all these people, I'm like, this isn't me. I don't really fit into that. So I didn't want to get a label that I wasn't comfortable with. And also saying that, I'll look and like my sister, for instance, she'd be like, oh, that guy's hot, that guy's hot. And I would see what she meant, like, and now I know there's a big difference between finding someone who's sexually attractive and understanding that they have attractive features. Didn't know that at the time though. So it caused a lot of confusion for me. It's really hard to think about. Like, I went through a lot of pain. If you ask any of my friends that I was friends with in high school, like my best friend Sarah, she would say the exact same thing. I wasn't that pleasant in high school. I was very agitated and confrontational and defensive and almost a little bit aggressive because I had a lot going on with other things as well, but with this on top of it, I was just like, she didn't even know. She knows everything and I did not say a word to her at all once to anybody about these feelings I was having. So it was just me that was struggling with it all on my own, and I think it kind of got to me in the end because I was just getting really bitter. So that year 10 camp also freaked me out, like majorly. I was so freaked out and worried about people finding out, or, well, yeah, people finding out. And so was this other girl. So we stopped hanging out, we stopped being friends, and we just went back to being our straight selves and ignoring it completely. It's so hard reliving this. And I did have boyfriends. I had plenty of boyfriends and some fake ones, like I said. I've made up a couple, to be honest, because I was watching all these people get boyfriends and I was just sitting there like, I'm not interested at all. So let's just make up one. I made up a couple boyfriends with my friends because I was seen as like the social one and the one interested in relationships and things like that, and I was just sitting there like, I'm not interested at all. So fast forward and I'm about to finish high school I had a boyfriend in high school, like my last year of high school, that no one really knew about, and he was really nice, really sweet, lovely guy. Never really got anywhere with him. I would make every excuse like under the sun to not be intimate, because that's the way I liked it. Lovely guy, really sweet, got not one bad thing to say about him even to this day. He was so lovely. I had this other boyfriend. He was my only other really serious relationship with a guy. Now, he was a bit of a douche, but I feel like that might have been my fault as well. So, well, to some extent, he was just a douche, but you know. I hope this person's not watching this video, but I was in love with my best friend for like 2 years. Like, at least. Maybe longer. 2 years. And she was awesome, but she had a boyfriend at the time. And I would like make any excuse to see her. Like, I generally did care about her anyway. Like, I was really close friends with her, and we were always there for each other, blah blah, any best friend story. But the feelings I had got more and more intense, and I just had to keep pushing them down. I just ignored the hell out of those feelings, like, so badly, because I just didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want her to know. But she was bisexual, and she kind of led me on quite a bit. Like, every now and then she'd just pull me back in, and then when I was like, alright, we're just friends, like, I need to get over it, she'd just pull me back in. Like, I was just, it was so bad. But my boyfriend, we would play hard to get, and like, he said that he didn't want to be official for ages, and I was just like, well, whatever. And then eventually we did become official, but we spent like all of our time that we had together with either my family or in town or with this particular friend of mine, and he was friends with her boyfriend. Like, they got quite close, so we would go over there quite a lot, and I would spend so much time with my best friend, and then I'd be sad because I'd have to go to bed with this guy. And yeah, I was not interested in any of that at all. It was just so bad. I hated every minute of anything. Like, I just made any excuse not to be intimate. I hated every moment. Like, I was physically sick once from making out with him. I vomited. So I probably should have known in that moment that I was gay. But I didn't want to be. I honestly, I know that sounds awful, but I didn't want to be gay. I hated the fact that I was gay. I loved other gays. I just didn't want it for me. Because I think I was just scared. I was so scared of what the outcome would be that I just internalized it so much and just pretend like it didn't exist. So eventually, like, I was going to town and I was making out with girls, and he didn't care because it didn't count because they were girls. And I feel really guilty now because cheating, and I knew that. But I was just so confused, and in my head I thought, oh yeah, it's just like a bit of fun. And then the more it went on and the more it would happen, I was like, no. And then eventually I met this girl. Never seen her again, but I met this girl and something just clicked. Like, we got on all night and it was just like amazing, and I just like, oh my god, this is what it's supposed to feel like when you kiss someone. This is the magic that you're supposed to feel when you kiss somebody. And I could not stop thinking about it so much. And like, I remember in high school, in the most random places, when I was refereeing football, like, with the whistle in my hand, I would just stand in the middle of the pitch crying because I knew that I was attracted to women and I was scared. I didn't know what that meant, and I was just scared. I would just cry and sob. And I got over that for a little while because I was 15 when that was happening. Then I got this boyfriend. I thought, alright, I've got over that. Introduced him to my family and everything. Oh, I feel so guilty. And then these feelings came rushing back again, like, I can't keep pretending like I'm not into girls. Like, I didn't know whether that meant I was gay, bi, pan. I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that I couldn't hide it anymore. So at the time, I came out as bisexual, more so because I had introduced him to my family. So I they knew that I was dating the guy. So I had to come out as bisexual. And I did want to stay with him. I will say this, I did plan on staying with him when I came out as bisexual. And I thought, me saying, right, I'm bisexual, like, everyone knows I'm interested in girls, I'd get it off my chest and I could just carry on. That's not what happened. He was the first person I told. Let's just say he wasn't respectful of me either, so it was kind of just a toxic relationship before he badmouthed me. But he was the first person I told out of respect, and I thought it was going to be fine. I thought it was going to be like a 5-minute conversation and we go back to whatever, and he didn't like it. I said, look, I'm attracted to women, I really think you should know. And he just looked at me and was like, what? And I was just like, yeah, I'm attracted to women. He didn't really say anything, which is not a good reaction. And he just asked to go home. But on the way home, I noticed that he didn't touch me at all. He wasn't talking to me. And we got there and we always used to like kiss goodbye, and he didn't kiss me. Very, very awkward. And I was messaging him, like checking if he was alright and all that. And I was like, I guess it was a big bomb, like I should just give him time. Then I got a message that night and he just broke it off of me. He just said it's the most disgusting thing he'd ever heard of. Like, he couldn't be with me, whatever. So I was actually quite upset, and the way that he said it, like how the whole fact of 2 women together is disgusting and like it shouldn't be allowed and all this, like there was a lot in the messages and it wasn't very pretty. So in that moment, I had 2 things to worry about. I had to tell my family that I'd obviously broken up with my boyfriend, and secondly, why. So I made up a lie, obviously, with my parents and that, about why we broke up. But I had to tell my sister. And I told her and I showed her the messages and that, and she was just like really upset. She's like, I know it hurts now, but it's the right thing that happened. Like, it was better that you both separated now before anyone like got really, really, really invested in the relationship. Like, if you were in love, it would be so much worse. But she's right. But at the time, I was just devastated. But again, it's more the way that he said lesbians and bisexuals are gross and disgusting. So Lydia was fine with it. Lydia didn't care. My sister is like the coolest person with LGBT stuff ever. And after that, I just kind of let everything die down. I didn't really tell anyone that I was bisexual straight away besides my sister. And then eventually I started telling like my friend, like one friend at a time, my friends that I was studying with. I think they already knew. I think now that like a lot of friends have hung out with me, so many people have told me they already knew, and I just came out anyway and was like, oh yeah, this massive deal, I think I'm bisexual. And they're like, oh my god, and really they're thinking, oh yeah, bitch, we know. So I was really nervous. There is another part of that story I want to tell you. The night that I met my boyfriend, my other friend decided to make a move on me, and she said, come on, I know you're gay. Now, this still upsets me to this day, because I know that I'm out and I'm proud lesbian now. At the time though, I was confused and I wasn't ready to come out. And you are never to force someone out the closet if they're not ready. If you think, oh yeah, they're definitely gay, you don't force them out. I'm sorry, it's just so wrong to force someone out the closet when they're not ready. I know that firsthand, and it sucked. And then I went completely in the wrong direction and like was with my boyfriend. Now I'm like, oh, I need to prove that I'm straight. So many mistakes in that sentence. But yeah, don't ever, ever, ever try and force someone out of the closet when they're not ready. And our friendship has suffered since then. It still is suffering a little bit. Like, we're not the friends that we used to be. We're so close. And that was the most heartbreaking part of that bit altogether. Now, my best friend and I kind of just stopped speaking to each other, the one that I was in love with. We stopped speaking with each other. We didn't interact. We fell out, and we parted ways, which for me, very healthy that happened, because I was just going in circles, dating people and being in love with my best friend. It was not healthy. Don't recommend that. I feel like there's so many lesbians fall in love with their best friend. So then I downloaded a dating app dedicated to women. I transformed. And I was talking to like quite a few different girls, and I was just trying to get that experience and just talk to them. And then my ex, yes, I met my ex-girlfriend on that dating app. She asked me out. She asked me out to dinner, and I was just like, yeah, sure. And now I always get to a place early because I'm always so scared of being late. This particular time, I was really early, and I was thinking, and I freaked out. I freaked out so bad, and I called my sister, or I messaged her. I think I called her or something, and I said, I cannot do this. I cannot go in there. I'm freaking out. I can't do it. And she's like, what do you mean you can't do it? I said, I can't do it. I'm leaving. And she's like, you've done this before. I said, it's different. It's with a girl. It's actually important. I was just like, it means more. It's so different. And my sister was just like, Lauren, you cannot stand this poor girl up. You're supposed to be meeting her in 5 minutes. You cannot stand her up. So I went in there, and it was a bit awkward at first because I was just like a baby, and I was just like, I don't even know how to flirt with women. And it was really good because she was outgoing and just kind of guided me with it all. Now, we kissed that night, and it was like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to feel like. It was like, even though she's not the love of my life, and honestly it was not the best relationship to probably go into, it was so different to dating men. Then I knew yeah, I'm definitely interested in women, and I was just so happy about it. I was so happy and scared because I didn't want my parents to find out, because I wasn't really sure how I identified, like I said, and I was just like, this is something I need to be sure of before I tell anybody about it. So we kept seeing each other and all that, and my dad, eventually all my friends knew. My dad came up to me and he's just like, Lauren, you've been a bit different lately, there's something not quite right, and I just want to make sure you're okay. And he just said, if you don't tell me, I'm going to be quite disappointed. So then I felt when parents use the disappointed, you have to tell them. So I said, Dad, I'm interested in women, I think I'm bisexual. And he said, oh, how do you know? I just asked these kind of questions, which is fine because he's trying to understand. And I just said, trust me, Dad, I know. And he's like, yeah, but how do you know? Do you know from Google, or do you know from seeing things, or do you know from experience? And I just said, Dad, I know. And he said to me, don't tell your mother at this time because my grandparents were out at the time, and it just wasn't the right time to do any of that. So I said, yep. So basically I would say I was going somewhere to my mum, which isn't really nice, I understand, because I was lying. But I felt like I didn't know, it was the only way I could go see this girl. And he just said, just tell me what's going on with you, me or Lydia. So I would tell him and Lydia what was going on. And eventually I just went up to him and said, Dad, she's my girlfriend. And he was really happy for me. Well, I think he was. And yeah, and my mum found out later on. That was not a great experience, and if you want me to go into more detail about that, then ask some questions down below and I'll answer them. Let's just say it wasn't the best coming out experience ever. It was pretty crappy for at least the first year. Yeah, probably the first year. And it was quite awkward after that with my next girlfriends. So my parents never actually met my first ex-girlfriend, or any other girlfriend besides Millie, my current girlfriend. So Millie's very, very special. So me and my ex-girlfriend broke up because she was kind of figuring stuff out at the same time. She's like, Lauren, you're a lesbian. So you're such a lesbian. I was just like, I don't know, I don't want to label myself and then change my mind and all that. And now I feel really bad for bisexuals, because I'm the stereotype of, yes, I come out as bisexual and then I come out as a lesbian, and I'm bisexuality is valid, and I hate myself that I did that now because I'm more educated in all of it. But honestly, because someone would be like, oh, he's hot, and I understand the features, even though I hate sexually being with men and all of that, I just was confused of the difference. But then I got educated and all that, and it became clear to me that obviously I was a lesbian. And then I did come out as a lesbian. And the rest of my network just kind of found out on Facebook. Which my grandparents found out on Facebook. Because I forgot to tell everyone. I just kind of wanted to be out there and them to figure it out. But my grandparents didn't care. Cousins didn't care. No one really cared except my parents. So yeah. God. I will say this though. There is a lot that I've skimmed over and a lot that I haven't talked about. Like my mental health, self-harm during those times in high school. Just being really stuck in here quite a lot. It was horrible, like crying myself to sleep all the time. It was just a horrible experience. I'm getting upset thinking about it at the moment. So if you want to know anything, if you want to want me to make another Q&A video regarding like my coming out story or anything, just comment down below what you want to see and I will make another video, whether that's like parents' reactions, self-harm, mental health during it, like figuring it all out. It's just amazing that I've come this far in like 5 years, honestly, because I was a late bloomer. I didn't come out until I was 19-ish, and then lesbian would have been a little bit later than that. But I've caught up, I dated a lot of women, I caught up with that kind of thing, and now I'm the happiest ever been with, like romantically. I am in a happy relationship. We're over 2 years into our relationship and she's the most beautiful girl you would ever lay your eyes on. And I'm so happy with the fact that I am a lesbian. But I wasn't. I wanted anything but to be gay. And that just comes along with the journey, I think. And I think that's really important to remember. And it's a really important step to get to. Like now I don't care, like I'll hold my girlfriend's hand in public, I'll kiss her in public, I don't really care. I think that it's important. Obviously we gauge when it's safe and when not to. If you're not safe, do not come out. If you don't have a roof over your head, like you're not sure that you won't have a roof over your head, do not come out. Don't come out unless it's safe to. But yeah, if you've got any questions or anything, let me know. Comment down below and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!